Get This Bread podcast.
All right, we're live. Sitting down with Mr. AJ Eads, Outdoors Podcast. Thanks for joining me.
Happy to be here, man. This is really a long time coming, and I'm pumped that you're doing it. So this is awesome.
This is the Mecca, man. This is the Get the Bread studio. I'm really excited about this space. I'm really excited about sitting down with guests like yourself. AJ, you're in town right now. We're sitting here in St. Louis, Missouri, for all those folks at home listening, and hopefully you're checking this out on YouTube as well. Tell us why you're in town, because you are a full-time traveler now.
Yeah, so about 15 months ago, my wife and I boarded an RV, sold our condo, started traveling the American West, and it was an amazing adventure, and we're still on it. We've probably got another year and a half of traveling to do. We both missed our families and wanted to spend some time with her parents and with my parents, so we're spending a little time in the Midwest with Sarah's parents. We spent a little time out on the East Coast coming up towards the end of the fall and into the early winter with my parents. And then who knows from there? The adventure is wide open. So we've got some loose plans of where we may go, but it's kind of open for ideas right now.
I've been following along your journey online. It's just incredible views, man.
I appreciate you. Yeah, we've had a wild journey, and this has been, I always tell people, like, I fell in love with the country all over again, because it sounds corny and cheesy, but it is incredibly beautiful. Like, our country is really an amazing place, and so few people ever get to spend the kind of time that we are just exploring it. So I'm really grateful. It's been an amazing adventure, and my wife's been a big part of why it's been that way.
That's sweet, man. I'm pretty jealous of some of the water you've hit in the last year.
Yeah.
Plunge pools, under waterfalls, just beautiful stuff. You know, native cutthroat. I'm hoping in the next 12 months to meet you out there, and we'll go do a little fishing together. Speaking of fishing, we went out last weekend to a little stream in the Ozarks.
Yep.
Pretty low water.
It was skinny for sure, but it was a really fun day. And I think, one of the big reasons that I think we've become good friends, and I know we're going to get into that later, but I think we kind of have a similar ethos for days on the water, right? Like, if we're out there, if we're with our friends, if we're trying, it's going to be a good day. Like, we don't have to have the most productive day on the water. If you're out there with your friends, it's probably going to be a pretty good time.
Everybody talks about it, right? Like, initially you start fly fishing, you're a catch all the fish guy. Next year, you catch the biggest fish guy.
Yeah.
You know, your numbers, your huge fish, and then all of a sudden you're just like, you know what? I just want to be out and fishing.
Yeah.
And for me, like, the priority is fishing with my friends. I like to fish alone. Like, it's good. I'll go out and just, test new patterns and stuff. But for me, being on the water with my friends, making a day of it, that's really where it's at.
Yeah. I've always felt like it's the whole day, right? It's the conversation in the car on the way to the put-in. It's working as a team to get the boat ready, although on this last trip, I did a pretty poor job of getting our rods rigged. We'll go into that later. And the day on the water, the drive home, do we stop at a restaurant and have some burritos or something like that? I think that the fishing is definitely the cookie on top, and it's a really great bonus if you have a really productive day. But, that John Gierak quote that, fly fishing isn't about catching fish. It's about going the places where fish can be caught. And we definitely explored some of the places that fish can be caught and enjoyed the scenery the entire time. So that's what it's about for me.
My favorite part actually wasn't in the raft. It was the night we showed up, got the RV set up, like, beautiful hosting job by you. And then we just walked down in the water and started catching trout. That was pretty awesome. The whole idea behind that trip was really for you and I as content creators and filmmakers. It sounds insane to actually say that about myself, but
it's fun, isn't it?
it's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
But the premise of the trip was for us to get together and start filming, working new techniques that we might not be able to do on our own. And, some of the guys that we really look up to, shout out Scotty a Wildfly, Ben and what he's doing with his channel. Yeah. There's a ton of people out there. Dorsal Outdoors.
Nate P, Shore Lunch with Nate P, man. Like, that's some of the most fun content out there in the fishing world. It's not fly fishing, but it's amazing.
Yeah. I think a lot, what I learned and what I was hoping to learn going into this was like the setup of the shot it's not necessarily the equipment.
Yeah.
Having kind of fundamental knowledge of how to use the equipment, but like thinking about the shot, setting up the shot, whether it's like a tripod setup, drone stuff, GoPro on your chest, or just like your little handheld DJI.
Yeah.
We got a story about that.
Yeah, we sure do. Yeah.
But it's really about the setup of the shot to try to like tell the story.
Yeah.
Big takeaway for me was like, you can't shoot enough B-roll.
You really can't. Yeah. I mean, it's you and I have talked about this, that there's this balance, right, of enjoying your day and still getting in a lot of fishing and not making it feel like it's this burden where you just always have a camera in your hand. That's one of the real benefits of fishing and filming with a buddy that also likes to do it, or a group of people, because then you can just sit back and fish and know that your friend's going to be filming you from across the bank or wherever it may be, getting lots of different shots. And I think that the group has a better chance of capturing diversity of shots, right? Some people are going to really focus on the micro stuff and get down close to flowers and flip over rocks and capture some stuff of, the aquatic insects that are under the water. That's a thing that we've probably never shot, right? Like just turning a rock over and seeing what's there.
Oh, hey, there's a Cam's Pets.
Exactly, right? Like some of those husks of the carcasses, or the shells of those stoneflies. That's like really great stuff to see. And you have ideas of shots to do. I have ideas of shots to do. And if we're doing it on our own, we're only going to get what comes to us. But working as a team, working as a group, all of a sudden we have all these shots. We combine our footage after the fact, and we all have more to work with, right? And then we can all kind of find our stories. But it was really fun to go out there and just like talk through. Do you want to set up a tripod over here? Should we do this shot this way? Or, hey, is now the right time to put up the drone? I really like the way this looks. Super fun to talk about all that stuff as we kind of move down the water.
Yeah, we did a little bit of time-lapse work as well.
Yeah.
Our lunchtime adventure, which AJ, you made a beautiful lunch in the water.
I appreciate you.
Man, I've never had more delicious couscous on the side of a river. Just really enjoying our time.
Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah.
I don't know why I looked up to the sky like she's gone. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Sarah. Yeah.
But what happened with the time-lapse camera? Because we had a bit of a boo-boo.
As is, I think you just kind of figure out in filmmaking, and you've got to be able to kind of balance what you can afford to break or lose or, have stolen or whatever. We started setting up a time-lapse for an hour while we were making lunch, while we were fishing. I mean, you went several hundred yards down shore and then worked your way across and back up. We really worked that whole area. And by the time we were done with the time lapse, we jumped in the boat and we just took off and forgot that it was running.
Excited to go fish.
Yeah, excited to go fish, and just took off like, I don't know, somewhere between a quarter and a half mile downriver. And all of a sudden the rain comes, right? And what did you say?
I said, AJ, is everything buttoned up camera-wise?
Exactly. And that literally triggered me to just look down into the cup holder where I'd been keeping that camera all day. And I was like, oh no. And I've had cameras fall in rivers before that weren't waterproof. I've walked away from stuff before. So you get this like sinking feeling of, oh my God. And luckily you were so kind to row us back all the way up the river and, make it available for me to go grab it. So thanks. But I mean, the footage was awesome, right? Like it paid off. So funny. Looks amazing.
And I'm sure you'll probably end up putting that in the film that you make, and it's definitely going to be in mine. And, they're going to be like, wow, those guys really went for it. Who the heck picked up that camera? Well, we rode all the way back up the river. It was a lot of fun. One of the things that I think is really important about our relationship is that we met through the community of fly fishing here in St. Louis. It was all around, Hargrove's, like fly shop, the events that had going on there.
Jefferson Lake.
Shout out to the Jeffersons.
Shout out to the Jeffersons.
Is it the Jeffersons Fishing Club or the Jeffersons Fly Fishing Club?
It's the Jeffersons Fly Fishing Club. For sure. For sure.
You listening in on this?
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you. A lot of gear talk recently. It's okay. Walleye season's coming up. But back to the community and how you and I came together. I remember sitting in Hargrove's back room, and we'd been out fishing a little bit. I'd been seeing what you've been doing with your YouTube channel and messing around with cameras, and I was just intrigued, man. And I looked at you and I went, I hope this doesn't sound weird, but like, I think I want to start a YouTube channel. Yeah. And you were ecstatic.
Lit up like a Christmas tree.
Like, we were like, and we've had that feeling working together ever since. For those of you who are tuned into the channel, have seen my progression with the videos that are coming out, all of that is supported by AJ. We talk on a daily basis about filmmaking, about how to tell a story, like editing techniques. I can't thank you enough for all that help.
Oh, absolutely. I was super lucky when I got my first camera. I had worked with a couple of guys, Sean Hotley and a guy by the name of Jim Britton, and both of them were kind enough to show me, include me, work with me, and really kind of mentor me into being a lot more comfortable with a camera in my hand. And I certainly don't claim to be good at it still many, many years later. But it really gave me a lot of confidence, and it gave me a lot of experience. I mean, Sean damn near flew me to southern Florida and took me on a wild road trip for it, for God's sakes. And it's only fair to pay that forward to other people that want to get into it. And quite frankly, just for me, it's a lot more fun to work on stuff together versus just feeling like I'm stuck all by myself, and being able to bounce ideas off of you and being able to take some of yours and add some to your projects. That's what it's all about for me. So I'm glad we did it.
I'm very thankful we continue to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, listen, this is going to be a little bit of a shorter episode. Why? Because we're heading out to the Blues hockey game, baby. We're going to be there with the kids and just have a nice time. So I think we'll probably go to wrap up a little bit. But one of the things that is really important for guests on the podcast, tell people how to get in touch with you, how to check out your online stuff. Tell them how to get to your channel.
Sure, I appreciate that. So I am Outdoors Podcast basically just about everywhere. It's outdoorspodcast.com, Outdoors Podcast on YouTube and Facebook and Threads and Instagram and everything. The only exception is on Twitter, where it's Podcast Outdoors. So you got to flip it. But go to outdoorspodcast.com. It's got videos, articles, interviews with really fantastic adventure friends. Episode with you coming very shortly. Long overdue, for goodness sakes. And I'm out there. Would love to talk to anybody that has questions or wants to chat. That's what it's all about for me, is connecting with the community. I know it's very similar for you, so that's where to find me.
One last thing we should probably leave the audience with. You definitely want to check it out because there's a new puppy in your life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, we had a series of events that led to us losing a really incredible Labrador Retriever, Deacon. Unbelievable dog, and it kind of came quickly and unexpectedly, so a real loss for our family. We've just recently added to kind of hopefully fill some very big shoes. Deacon had the biggest feet of any lab I've ever seen, so figuratively and literally. We got a 3-year-old black lab named Bo Barrington Eads, and we call him Bo for short, and he's just awesome, and I'm hoping that he can kind of slowly start to work his way into our family and what we do. So he's a good addition.
He's going to be a great addition to all of the photos, all the videos, faster than you can say, Mr. Bo Barrington.
I appreciate you, buddy.
Well, as we always do, let's end with a big shout out of
Get that bread.
All right, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.
The Get This Bread Podcast.